Well, that was not exactly what I expected. So I just finished watching the PlayStation Showcase for 2023, and I think there was a lot of high expectations for this because Sony has not done an official PlayStation Showcase in almost 2 years. They've done some state of plays, some of which have been good, some of which have been bad, but this was a very strange mix. A lot of people online are calling this the worst PlayStation Showcase of all time. I've seen people saying it's wet dog shit on a summer morning. I mean, I'm not going to go that far, but it definitely is not as impressive as I personally hoped. But let's talk about the disappointment, the good games, the bad games, and the surprise reveal of a new PlayStation handheld. Let's dig into it. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so first and foremost, I do feel like a lot of the hate for this presentation just came down to the fact that it was really packed full of a lot of cutesy indie games that didn't really show us, anything super spectacular and different. There wasn't as many exclusive PlayStation experiences as we probably hoped. No Uncharted, no talks of like Resident Evil DLC, or I don't know, even just cool new explosive stuff to get us excited for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They didn't even show us Silent Hill 2 Remake, and it seems like that game may actually come out this year. Instead, we got a lot of games for stuff like, oh look, that live service game from Square Enix everybody's super curious about, Foam Party. This looks like it's filled with NFT microtransactions. It's people squirting foam on each other. And you know what? I don't go on OnlyFans, but I imagine this is content of people getting soaked down in big old soapy foam. A lot of these games, I'm not even hating on them. Just a lot of this cutesy, plucky, like, oh, look, we have this cute little adorable indie paper mache arts and crafts game. Great. Okay. I mean, why? This is stuff that could probably run on my cell phone, so I don't think of it synonymous with a PlayStation Showcase. Especially stuff like this. Grandblue Fantasy Relink. Okay, cool. I'm glad that's coming to PlayStation. Oh yeah, first images of Towers of Agabasa. Okay, this is probably like a big survival game. Nice. But let's get into the stuff that's actually impressive. They ended it off with by far the best part of the entire showcase, which was Spider-Man 2. They did an extreme deep dive, showing combat, showing the interactivity of how Miles Morales is actually going to fight with and talk to Peter Parker. And let me just say, across the board, this was the best part of the entire thing. Actually, I think this was just so spectacular, predominantly because of this interesting new look of Venom Peter Parker. Symbiote Spider-Man has obviously been done in a lot of different ways throughout the comics and stuff, but this one specifically really looks extra alien, and I really like that. He seems like he is actually being taken over, and that's super badass, especially because in a lot of these gameplay segments, watching them actually interact, like he definitely looks like he is being preyed upon by the symbiote. A lot of these segments here where we actually get to see how they're going to play differently, it definitely seems like Miles Morales has way more gadgets this time. He's able to talk to his friend in a drone, hack stuff, create zip lines, and then beat people up on jet skis, which is pretty awesome. Whereas obviously now classic Peter Parker is going to be the enforcer, the brute force guy. In the trailer, we saw them fighting against Kraven the Hunter and the Lizard, both of which are very sheer, crazy, monstrous style bad guys. Watching them fight together against them was so cool. I mean, my hype for this game is through the freaking roof. But more than that, it is a bit strange that we didn't get a release date for it. They're still just saying, oh, it's coming out in fall. The leaks have already said it's coming out in September. I kind of wish we'd get classic toxic Sony to come out and say, oh yeah, it's coming out in September, so pre-order that instead of Starfield. Something properly toxic. But moving on here, this was definitely the biggest surprise of the showcase. there is a new piece of hardware coming out, part of the PlayStation family, which is called the rumors with it would be called the Q Lite or something like that. And this is it, Project Q. Now, this is technically not a freestanding device. It is a little screen that has like these little controllers connected to it. You buy this, it's going to connect to your Wi-Fi and then your PlayStation 5, and you can remote play stuff. Okay, that's interesting, but I think most people want, a PlayStation Vita 2 or a PSP 3, So I'm going to buy this because I am somebody that is curious about how well this will actually be used, how low the latency will be, especially for somebody like me with extra fast internet. We'll test it out, but it is a device that I kind of think, okay, this thing better be like under $100 or nobody's going to pick it up. Now, here's one of the surprise games they announced. It was this samurai game called Phantom Blade Zero. This looked incredibly radical. I don't know what the hell it's about. This guy apparently has 66 days to live, and then his heart's going to explode, so he's battling evil ninjas and Medusa and big boobed assassins. I'm definitely playing this. Whatever the hell Phantom Blade is, I want to be a part of that. That is definitely a lot of hype. Now, this is another game that apparently did slip out through some cracks a while ago, but Bungie's first game, something they worked on a million years ago, was a game called Marathon, which actually had very deep lore, and it was kind of the predecessor to Halo. It kind of was their way of learning the steps before they made that big first-person combined universe. Well, they're making a new Marathon. They're making a big cybernetic future, crazy blown-out art, weird impaled planets. I mean, we don't really know what this is about, but the fact that Marathon is returning as a PlayStation exclusive is insane. I mean, if this is even halfway decent, and it's Bungie, so my hopes are incredibly high, my expectations are through the roof. And I have to admit that I'm kind of just interested because really, this is Bungie. This is the people that invented Halo going back to their roots. This is basically as close as they're allowed to legally get to making a Halo-esque game for the PlayStation. Oh man, I'm definitely excited to see that. Another huge, gigantic W. Dragon's Dogma 2. I love Dragon's Dogma so much. I haven't played the port. I know they actually ported it. They did like a remaster of it for the PlayStation 4 and 5. I have not played it. I bought it, but I have not played it yet. But even rewatching this trailer, it brings back so many memories of the sorcerer I played back in the day, calling down meteors, commanding hurricanes. If you've not played Dragon's Dogma, it's a game that's aged incredibly well. It's still incredibly freaking fun. But it's also kind of cool to me, just the fact that they're preserving that original essence. This is still that classic game. They just happen to update it. Man, I'm so curious to see when the heck this comes out, because it's probably super early in development. At least I think so, but maybe Capcom is dumping a ton of profits into it, because already the level of polish this game has is impressive to say the least. Now, here's another game that I'm actually surprised is coming out this year, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which basically just looks like an exact remake of the original Assassin's Creed, back to doing stealth kills, back to actually being an assassin instead of swinging around double axes as a Viking warlord. Hell yes. I can't believe I'm actually going to say this. I'm excited for an Assassin's Creed game again. I mean, I didn't know what timeline I fell into, but hey, you know what? I'll take this. This is a rare Ubisoft W, and even saying those words, they choke me. Okay, next up we have, of course, in my opinion, one of the very best games of the showcase, but I am biased. One of my favorite games of all time is Alan Wake. I love the lore. I love the universe. I love the weird tie-ins they've put in games like Control. Remedy is fantastic. Alan Wake 2 is actually coming this year. I am so interested as to what they're going to do with the story, because it looks like the 18 years we have between Alan Wake 1 and Alan Wake 2, it looks like they're going to tie that into the actual storyline. In some of the pictures in the trailer itself, we also saw the director of the game Like the director of Alan Wake 2 is in the trailer as one of the detectives searching for Alan Wake. I am incredibly blown away by that because one of the main storyline points of Alan Wake is that it is a author, Alan Wake, who is using his books to, against his will, make demons real. Basically, there's this power that makes it so that your imagination is given manifest. I wonder if they're going to get super meta with this one, and now this game is also a creation of Alan Wake's. Like, it wills the game into existence, and by playing it, we're interacting and being our own Alan Wake. Whatever it turns into, I am definitely going to be there day freaking one. Next up, though, the final thing is two separate things at once. The Metal Gear Solid remake, turns out it's real. The Metal Gear Solid 3 is called Snake Eater. Now, people have said that this is Delta, which is weird. Apparently, Delta, I think that what they're trying to do is that they don't want to have Metal Gear Solid 3 on a box for a remake because that might confuse casual fans. But having this as Metal Gear Solid Delta is also still a bit weird. I mean, very Kojima-esque, basically, because it's got a big old freaking, what do they call it, Greco-Roman sign on here. That's great. Man, does he look good as hell right there, by the way. Man, I hope David Hayter comes back. But they also announced that they're doing a Metal Gear Solid collection this fall, which will be Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, remastered and looking better. But here's the other weird part. Volume 1. Does that mean they're going to release Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 4 and Portable Ops and all the weird random side stuff? Are they going to bring back Metal Gear Acid, the card game? We really don't know. Overall, I will say that this showcase, the highs were very high. The lows were just very, very low. This showcase, in my opinion, was like 20 minutes of gold, solid gold, and 40 minutes of filler. And that sucks. For a presentation that we expected to be the best showcase of all time, I was expecting the other way around. I was expecting 40 minutes of gold and 20 minutes of meh. But we'll see what comes next. I live streamed this, and for some reason, I had a bunch of salty Xbox fanboys constantly spamming PlayStation 5 is dead, Xbox better. So, you know what? Xbox fanboys, next up is the Xbox showcase. We'll see how that turns out, but certainly my curiosity is stoked. But tell me your thoughts on this entire presentation in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Oh man, I'll be honest, I've been talking for like 4 hours straight now because I streamed the thing and then I did a pre-show and now I'm filming this. I'm going to drink like a milkshake the size of North Dakota. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.